Our next speaker we have is Gayle Kesselman. Gayle is the founder, along with John Rucci and Carmen Morales, of the New Jersey Citizens for Immigration Control. New Jersey Citizens for Immigration Control is a grassroots, nonpartisan organization with a mission to see our borders secured and our laws enforced. A little over a year old, NJCIC already has several hundred members scattered all over the state of New Jersey. Dr. Kesselman is the daughter of a legal immigrant. Dr. Kesselman is passionate about America and the mission of NJCIC. Gayle is old enough to remember when being a citizen of the United States of America was a precious privilege, not a cheap giveaway from unscrupulous politicians trolling for our votes. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Dr. Gayle Kesselman.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you. Thanks for putting together this rally. This is really something. I know what you went through, and it's really great that we're here. I want to just say a few words about how I got involved with this, because I think it might be somewhat instructive. Because I would say up until about 2 years ago or so, maybe a little more.
Can't hear you out there.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Now? Okay. Just want to give a little bit of history how I got involved with this, because I think it might be somewhat instructive. Up until about maybe 2.5 years ago, I really didn't have too much interest in this, to be quite honest. I would go to a restaurant with my husband, and we would have waiters who seemed to be, maybe didn't speak English that well, and I just thought, well, probably they're here from some other country, and maybe they're here legally or illegally. It wasn't even something I thought about very much. To the extent that I thought about it, if I asked anyone about it or read anything about it, I would hear people say, well, these people are here doing the jobs that Americans won't do. And then I thought, well, that's pretty good, because like if they weren't here, all the restaurants would have to close down, and all the lawns would be overgrown with weeds, and I mean the whole country would just grind to a halt. I mean, it's like, we'd just be really, we'd be in a heap of trouble here without these people. So it's pretty good they're here, right? And so I kind of accepted the common wisdom that we hear all around us. And I guess I didn't think too much about it, because if I thought too much about it, I would have said, well, gee, the country began, you could say, in 1776. So somehow for a little over 200 years, we managed to get the restaurants were open and the lawns were mowed, and everything seemed to be fine. And it's really only since sometime in the 1980s that we started seeing a lot of people coming over. So what is it that's different now? I mean, how did this all change? So I guess I started to question a little bit, and then Sue Tully from FAIR came to town, in Bergen County, which is where I live, and she gave a talk, and I went to hear her talk. And I was really astounded, because it really opened my eyes to a lot of what's going on with this issue, and a lot of which was not presented, is not, and still not being presented in the mainstream media. And you really have to go on blogs like Ruth Miller's blogs, and we send out informational emails from our organization, various organizations, to try to get some facts that really put together what's going on here. And so I started researching it. And I don't want to go through, like a whole lot of statistics and stuff. I want to just do two things that I think are really important, and everybody should have. Any of you that are active in this movement need to have these numbers, in your head. And I'm going to start out with a question. Do you know how much the state of New Jersey pays for services for illegal aliens? Anybody got a guess?
Too much.
Too much. Okay. No, any ideas? Anybody want to throw out a number? I'm hearing all different numbers. FAIR did a study on this. $2.1 billion per year. $2.1 billion per year. That's a conservative estimate. Now, they did this study by looking at 3 factors only: education, health care, and incarceration for criminals. Okay, so they did an estimate, for example, for education, the number of children of illegal immigrants that are in the school system, and they looked at the cost of education from K through 12, and so they figured out the cost somewhere, I think, about 1.8 something billion, and then they looked at incarceration and health care pretty much the same way. And they didn't even look at like the soft costs, things like bilingual interpreters in the court system and, welfare benefits for American citizens and legal residents that have been pushed out of their jobs. They didn't even look at that stuff. I mean, it was a very conservative study. So that's $2.1 billion of your taxes that are going for social services for illegal immigrants, okay? Or illegal aliens. What? The other thing is, how much money do you think is leaving the state of New Jersey in the form of remittances going to Latin America? Anybody got an idea? $1 million? Remittances are like people that come over here that do, day labor, construction, whatever, and they send money back home in the form of, small checks that go to their families.
About $1 billion.
Yep. About $1 billion. And there's also an agency called the Inter-American Development Bank, which is a Latin American agency formed in the 1950s, which monitors economic and social progress in Latin American countries. They keep track of this. Now, this is not some right-wing think tank or something. This is a Latin American agency. And they have done studies of this, and you can go on their website and get this information. And they estimate over $1 billion from New Jersey. They also estimate that based on current figures, by 2010, and there was an article in the Washington Post a couple of months ago, they estimate that from the country as a whole, from the United States as a whole, by the year 2010, it's going to be over $100 billion. Now, this is money that's leaving our country. This is money that could be used to improve our infrastructure. This is money that could be used to bolster our economy. And, if you go on their website, it's just interesting, because I had a laugh. I mean, it's not funny, but, if you don't laugh, you cry. If you go on their website, when they have these maps and these figures, the Inter-American Development Bank, they have a title for it. And it's called Exporting Financial Democracy. I mean, like when the money leaves here and goes there, it's exporting financial democracy. I mean, come on. Okay, so those are the facts. And, why is this happening? I mean, what's going on here? Why is all this money leaving our country? Why are we spending all this money on services for people? It's like the corporations and the politicians they're importing third world poverty into our country. And we, the middle class, are paying for this. We are paying for the social services for these people, while the corporate elites and the politicians are getting rich. So what's going on here? Why are they doing this? Well, I've been thinking about this because I'm really kind of curious as to what's going on. And I think there's 2 possibilities. I think there's 2 possibilities, and I'm not sure which is true, but I'm going to throw it out there as just something to think about. And if you have any ideas, you let me know. I think, for one thing, I think there's a certain arrogance. I think there are people in power that it's like they just feel like this country is rich and it's powerful and nothing's gonna change. There's nothing that can harm us. There's nothing, no matter what we do, we're always going to be rich and powerful. Well, the fact is we are a rich and powerful country, but we're not going to be rich and powerful for very long if this keeps up.
That's right.
Okay? So that's something that we need to know. The other possibility is that they couldn't care less. They just don't care about the middle class. They don't care about hardworking people that are legal citizens, legal residents and citizens. And, as long as they're doing all right, I guess they figure that eventually this country is going to have what's called an hourglass economy. There's going to be a whole bunch of people at the bottom and a small group of people at the top and essentially no middle class. And as long as they make out okay, they couldn't care less. I want to talk just a little bit about something called 287G, which is a big part of our agenda at New Jersey Citizens for Immigration Control. If I say program 287G, how many people here know what I'm talking about? Oh, a lot of you. Okay, not everybody though, so that's That's good. Program 287G is a program that is run by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Division of the Department of Homeland Security. And what it is, it enables local law enforcement to partner with the federal government in enforcing immigration law. Okay? It was passed by an act of Congress in 1996. It's a well-established program. It's in effect in numerous places in California, Arizona, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Tulsa, Oklahoma just came online, various places all around. The local government can be a state, it can be a county, it can be a city, okay? And so how does this work? You have a mayor of a city, like Mayor Crescitello of Morristown, who I guess or you have a county executive, and this works very well on the county level, or even the state. The Attorney General of the state of New Jersey could apply. The state of Florida was the first entity that got involved in this. And what they do is they apply to the program. They apply to the Department of Homeland Security. They go through an application process. And when they're accepted, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement sends people to the local area. They do a 4 to 5 week training program with the police and or correctional officers, because both can be involved. At the end of that 4 to 5 week program, the police have the ability to interrogate, detain, and begin expedited deportation on illegal immigrants. Okay?
That's what we need.
Now, they are acting as, in this program, when they finish this program, the training program, they are acting as deputies of the federal government. They are actually deputized by the federal government. This is very important because a lot of these, these groups, the whole Open Borders crew, ACLU and MALDEF and LULA, the whole bunch of them, they just can't wait to start lawsuits on any local police force that tries to enforce immigration law. Well, in this situation, with 287G in effect, the liability shifts to the federal government. So they can start a lawsuit, but they're going to have to sue the federal government because the policeman is acting as a deputy of the federal government. Now, all of the procedures that they're taught in the training are in conformity with U.S. Department of Justice guidelines regarding racial profiling. So, they don't have, there's no basis for any kind of accusation of racism or racial profiling. And I just want to tell you a little bit like how this works in practice, because I spoke to Julia Ross, who's the public relations director for the Mecklenburg County in North Carolina, which is the county that has Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a major city there. And they've had this program in effect for a little under a year. And I said, well, how does this work? What actually goes on here? Well, she said, well, of course, you have some people that are picked up by the police for very serious crimes. Murder, rape, robbery. And of course, you're not going to just deport them because they got to do time. Somebody, if an illegal immigrant, illegal alien murders somebody, you don't say, okay, I'm going to just put you on a plane back to wherever you came from. They have to go to prison. But a lot of people get picked up by police for things that they're not going to go for prison. They're not going to go to prison. They get picked up for, shoplifting, or they got into a bar fight or something. The police came in and broke it up and took them down to get, get booked or whatever. So you have a bunch of people coming into the county jail in Mecklenburg County in Charlotte, North Carolina. Everybody is asked what country they were born in. And then people get fingerprinted, and they have these new fingerprint machines. I don't know if any of you have seen them, but they don't have the old ink. There's no ink. You just put your hand on this. There's a little gel, and they put your hand on a screen, and it does a digital fingerprint that goes into a database. So these people get fingerprinted with these machines. It goes right into a database in Washington, D.C., where they get information if this person has a case with INS, or Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So they can tell if this person should have been deported. Because, as you may know, there's over 600,000 people running around the country that have deportation orders. In other words, they've gone through the whole deportation procedure. They're supposed to be out of the country, but nobody can find them. Okay? So if one of these people that the police pick up has a deportation order, they know about it immediately. From there, they get an FBI number, which lets them know if they have a criminal history. You can have someone in Charlotte, North Carolina, just got out of prison. You know, they just did 3 years in Tennessee or something for some other crime, and they figure, well, I got to get out of Tennessee. You know, the police know me here, so they go someplace else. So they are able then to find out very quickly. This is real-time computer stuff. I mean, they get an answer right away. They don't have to call some office and wait for a callback. They find out right away who are the illegal aliens that are supposed to be deported, who are the illegal aliens that have a criminal history. And in Charlotte, North Carolina, they fill out a form once they get the information. And then there's a bus. She told me there's a bus that comes around every Thursday that picks the people up from the county jail and takes them to the federal detention center in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, and then they're out, at least out of Charlotte, North Carolina. What happens to them after that is the federal government will leave me. She's told me that they have done deportation on 2,700 people. And that's in, the program, as I said, is about a year old. I think it's a little under a year old.
That's great.
Okay. So 2,700 illegal alien criminals have been deported from Charlotte, from just one town, Charlotte, North Carolina, in about a year. Okay? So, the thing is that, you know, this program should be in effect all over the place. And we've been trying to get this implemented in New Jersey. As Mayor Crescitello has applied for it. We had nothing to do with that, but it was actually coincidental. But he's applied for it in Morristown. I've gone around and spoken to mayors, and I'll speak to anybody. And any of you that live in counties in various parts of New Jersey, if you want to arrange a meeting with your mayor, or what would be even better would be your county executive or your freeholder. If you want to arrange a meeting with them, I will come down. I have a stack of documents on 287G. I have all sorts of information that I can give. I'll be very happy if you contact me through the NJCIC website. You can arrange a meeting, and I will do a presentation on 287G. And because I want to spread the word, and this is something that people should be aware of, because this is, you know, part of the solution. It's not the whole solution, but it's part of the solution. Okay? And I just want to close by saying that, you know, as Ruth pointed out, the opposition is very organized, and they're getting money from the federal government, and the U.S. Marines are contributing money to LaRasa. I mean, what's that all about? I mean, it's crazy. So, what's the solution? You know, I know we kind of feel maybe like we're sort of isolated, you know, but we can get organized too. There are organizations out there. There are plenty of local organizations. We need to get organized. The politicians are starting to become aware of the fact that we're out there. And we can't let them forget that, because they have to be, a lot of what's going on here is that the Open Borders lobby is so organized that the politicians are afraid of them. Well, I think it's time for them to start being afraid of us. Woo! Yeah. And that's going to happen. That's going to happen. But we have to get organized, become involved, write letters. I write letters all the time to the senators. You know, and they have to know that we're out there. Send them emails, send the faxes. You know, there are plenty of local and national organizations out there that you all can be involved with. They all have, some of them have a little different focus here and there. But find one that you're comfortable with, or a couple, you know, and get involved with it, because they need to know that we're out there. They need to know that they pulled this stuff too long. This has been going on too long. And you know, it's got to come to an end, because as other people have pointed out, this is actually the beginning. If this continues, it's the beginning of the end of our country as we know it, and we can't let that happen. Not without a good fight. Okay, thank you very much.